Good morning, dear students. I welcome you all to a new class in physics today. If you remember, in the last class, I had done the Hoops experiment with you, and I told you that for the chapter heat and energy, we are not going to do section B and section C because that is not a part of our syllabus. It has been deleted by the boards. So today we are going to begin with a fresh topic, that is section D of the chapter heat and energy, in which we are going to focus on greenhouse effect. Okay, children. Now, to begin with, what is the meaning of the word greenhouse effect? I would like to define it for you. It is a process of warming of the Earth's surface and its atmosphere by the absorption of infrared radiations of long wavelength emitted out from the surface of the planet. That leads to greenhouse effect. Now, in order to understand this greenhouse effect, you can see that I will explain it to you. I have drawn a well illustrated diagram here in front of you, and through this diagram I will explain you the greenhouse effect. Okay, children. Now, in this diagram you can see that I have drawn the layers of the atmosphere which lie above the surface of the earth. Let us suppose that here this is the earth's surface. Okay, and you know that the earth is surrounded by an envelope of air, and there are different layers of air above the earth's surface. Okay, so you can see I have drawn clouds also. Now what happens, the sun emits out different rays. Different types of radiations are emitted by the sun. Now let us look at it. The sun emits gamma rays, X rays, UV rays. The full form of UV is ultraviolet rays, and of course the visible rays and the infrared rays. Now remember, children, that when all these radiations are emitted by the sun, they fall towards the surface of the earth. Now, remember one thing, children, I would like to tell you that our earth's atmosphere is does not let the gamma rays, the X rays and the ultraviolet rays to enter into the earth's atmosphere. Now what stops it from entering? The ozone layer. Okay, now the ozone layer which is formed naturally does not allow the gamma rays, harmful X rays and ultraviolet rays to enter the earth. But what happens is that the visible light, of course, our atmosphere is transparent to two things. That is, it is transparent to visible light and infrared radiations. Okay. Now, here I would like to tell you that the infrared radiations are of two types. They have a shorter wavelength as well as longer wavelengths. Now, what happens when these infrared radiations fall on the surface of the earth? Some part of it is absorbed by the earth and the remaining is reflected back, okay, to the atmosphere. Now you can see here I have drawn the radio waves and the infrared rays or radiations of long wavelength. When they enter the earth's surface, the clouds absorb it. A part of it is absorbed by the clouds and the remaining is reflected back. But what happens is, due to the various human activities, there are different gases which are emitted. Now, like we have gases like carbon dioxide which is emitted, CFC, that is chlorofluorocarbon, is emitted. Then we have water vapor which is emitted. We have methane which is emitted. Now, these gases form a cover over the surface of the earth. Now the radiations, which are the infrared radiations which are going to get reflected back, are actually what happens, it is being stopped or it is being trapped by by the envelope of these gases which are formed around the surface of the earth, and that causes an increase in temperature on the surface of the earth, leading to greenhouse effect. Okay, children. So you should remember this, that greenhouse effect is caused due to some gases. Now I have prepared another illustrated diagram for you. In that particular diagram, I want you to have a look at this diagram also. This is another illustrative diagram illustration which I have drawn for you. Here I have shown you the different layers of the atmosphere and the gases which I named: carbon dioxide, methane, water vapor and CFC. CFC is known as chlorofluorocarbons. Now these four types of gases, they are emitted by the different activities which take place on the surface of the earth. They are man-made activities, like we burn fuels, then decomposition of certain substances occur which liberate methane. Even due to the heating of the water bodies, water vapor is given out. And when we use refrigerators and we use ACs, then chlorofluorocarbons are emitted. These gases are known as the greenhouse gases. So these gases form an envelope around the atmosphere, and these gases stop the infrared radiations which are getting reflected back towards the atmosphere. Due to that, what happens, when these infrared radiations are blocked, that leads to reabsorption. And thus what happens is, normally it is seen that when the greenhouse gases are under control, that is, they naturally occur in the atmosphere, the average temperature of the earth is seen to be around 15.5 degrees Celsius. This is an overall average. But when there is an increase in the amount of these greenhouse gases due to various human activities, what is happening? The temperature, the average temperature increases above 15.5 degrees Celsius. And due to that, what happens, children? It causes global warming. Okay, children, it causes global warming. So you should know that global warming is a serious problem. How can you define global warming? Global warming means that it is an increase in the average effective temperature near the Earth's surface due to the increase in the amount of the greenhouse gases. Okay, children. So just remember one thing. I go back to my first flow chart. Just a quick recap. I told you that the gamma, X-ray and UV rays are blocked by the ozone layer. Okay, no problem. But the visible light and infrared radiations reach the Earth's surface, some part of it absorbed. And the long wavelength radiations, infrared radiations, are absorbed by the clouds. And when they are reflected back, some part of it is it's not totally reflected back, it is trapped. And what traps it actually? The greenhouse gases trap it. And the greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide, methane, water vapor and CFCs, they trap these reflected infrared radiations. They are reabsorbed by the earth, due to which the temperature of the earth is rising alarmingly. It is going up, which is leading to global warming. And also remember, children, one more important thing is that the effect which is caused, I mean this particular process where you can see that the infrared radiations are trapped is called greenhouse effect, and this greenhouse effect leads to global warming. Okay, children, I hope you have understood what is greenhouse effect and what is global warming. Okay, I want you to go through these two topics from the book also, from your textbook. Now I move to another topic. Now we are going to see that what are the human activities which are responsible for these increase in the greenhouse gases. If you remember, I had listed the greenhouse gases: carbon dioxide, methane, water vapor, and the fourth one was CFC, that is chlorofluorocarbons. Okay, children, now let's look at, normally these are present in the Earth's atmosphere, but they are in restricted amount. Let us look at what activities causes an increase in these gases, greenhouse gases. Now if you go to see carbon dioxide, now we all know that carbon dioxide, the quantity of carbon dioxide increases due to burning of fossil fuels. It increases due to the deforestation, that is cutting down of trees, and it also increases due to the rise in the transportation vehicles and industrial pollutants which are emitted in the atmosphere. Now all these are the reasons and the causes for increase in carbon dioxide. Let us look at what causes an increase in methane gas in the atmosphere. The rice cultivation, the animal husbandry, that is the decomposition of the dung, etc., and other wastes, even the burning of the biomass, and the leakage in the natural gas pipelines causes an increase in the content of methane in the atmosphere. Now let us look at what is the cause of increase in water vapor in the atmosphere. We use boilers in the industries, we use which causes an increase in water vapor level. Also the hot water springs emit water vapor. The industrial disposals causes liberation of water vapor. Even the natural process of evaporation causes an increase in the quantity or the amount of water vapor. So now let us look at the fourth one. What causes an increase in the quantity of the chlorofluorocarbons? Chlorofluorocarbons are emitted by excessive use of air conditioners, refrigerators, and even the industries. Actually, nowadays, children, you have air conditioners and refrigerators. They advertise that it has no CFC, but that is not the case. This is only a way to fool people, saying that this particular brand of AC does not emit CFC. It's not so. They definitely emit chlorofluorocarbons, and due to that, what happens? It is a greenhouse gas. So you have seen at the different aspects of what causes an increase in the amount of greenhouse gases. So now what is going to happen, children? When there is going to be an increase in the greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, it is going to enhance the greenhouse effect, thus leading to global warming, which is a very, very alarming issue nowadays. Children, you must have studied about it in environmental studies also. So global warming means an increase in the average effective temperature near the Earth's surface due to an increase in the amount of the greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. Okay, children, if these greenhouse gases, like namely carbon dioxide, methane, water vapor, and CFC, are under control, then it is not going to have a harmful impact. But children, if it is going to increase drastically due to various human activities as shown, it is going to have a harmful impact on the earth. Now let us look at what is the impact of the global warming on the life on this earth. Okay, I have prepared a flow chart kind of a thing. You can see I have listed some impacts which are serious impacts. Now the first one, namely, due to global warming or due to greenhouse effect, what is happening is there is a change in the climate. You can see that summers are prolonging, the winters are shortened, the rainfall is very uncertain. When it is not supposed to rain, it rains, and when it is supposed to rain, it doesn't rain. So all these climatic changes are caused due to global warming, which is actually forcing people and animals to migrate at certain places when the temperature rises alarmingly. Then it is also, when there is definitely going to be a uncertainty about the climate, that is going to cause impact on the blooming season, and also on the crops which we grow. We actually grow crops according to seasons, according to rainfall, according to temperature. Now when there is an uncertainty of climate, what is going to happen? It is going to cause a scarcity of food. Okay, then let us look at the other impact. It is going to cause warming of the oceans, and that is going to harm the aquatic life. Indirectly, it's going to have an impact on us. The people who are actually love to eat seafood, they are going to have that they are going to get affected. Okay, similarly, the global warming is also going to cause melting of the glaciers. That is going to bring about, when the glaciers will melt at an alarming rate, what is going to happen? It is going to increase the level of the water in the oceans and the seas, and due to that, due to an increase in the level of the water, the continents are going to get submerged. The coastal areas especially will get flooded, and that will cause the submerging of the coastal areas. And especially people, they do farming at the coastal areas, they will have to shift their farming regions. Okay, so these are all interconnected problems. Then you can see that there are going to be causes of new diseases. Global warming is going to cause us an upsurge of new diseases, which have new symptoms, and new medicines have to be then found out. Similarly, it can also cause an increase in the cost of air conditioning. Definitely, the people who nowadays, you can see that due to global warming, the temperature in the summers rises so high that we are forced to use the air conditioners. So that's going to cause a increase in the cost of the air conditioners, and definitely it's going to have an impact on us also, because we have to pay heavy bills. Okay, children, so I want you to go through all these points carefully. They are mentioned in the book. I want you to go through them, understand them, that what is the impact of global warming on basically on the on life on the earth. It is not only going to affect human beings, but it is going to have a harmful impact on the plants, the flora and the fauna. All are going to affected badly, going to get affected by global warming. Now the last topic is, we have to think of a solution to this problem of global warming. It is a burning topic of which is taught in environmental studies. They teach you, the teachers always educate you, plant more trees. Why do they say so? Because you know that if we plant more trees, that's going to control the amount of carbon dioxide, and thus it can reduce one greenhouse gas. Okay, so now let's look at, I have divided into three sections. The first section is technological measures, the second one is economic measures, and the third one is policy measures. Now let's look at all the three one by one. What technological measures can we undertake to minimize the impact of global warming? Number one, we can use renewable sources in place of using coal, charcoal, which produce a lot of carbon dioxide, wood, etc. We can use renewable sources like wind, solar energy, tidal energy, geothermal energy to generate electricity. Okay. Secondly, we can change the old internal combustion engines of the vehicles, which emit a lot of pollutants, by battery operated vehicles. That is a very good option. Thirdly, we can use biochar stoves. Basically, in villages nowadays we have cooking gas, LPG everywhere, but the remote areas where we use wood and charcoal, which is burnt, that produces a lot of greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide, water vapor. So to prevent that, we can use biochar stoves, which are specially designed stoves, and they emit a very limited amount of pollutant, leaving behind a charcoal residue which can be used or reused again. Okay, now let us look at economic measures, children. The first one is, we have to plant a lot of trees. If we are cutting down one tree, we have to plant 3, 4, 5 trees. Okay, so as to have a sustainable use of land. Secondly, the government can impose carbon tax to the for the industries. Why? Because if carbon tax is imposed on the industries, then they will be scared of emitting out the pollutants in the air. Time to time a check can be made. Whatever pollutants are thrown out by the industries have to be checked. The sample has to be checked, and if the carbon content or the pollutant content is found to be more, they have to pay heavy tax. Okay, so that will control their emissions. Or they can, actually what they can do, whatever harmful gases are emitted, they can treat those gases in different ways by installing, wet scrubbers, and also by catalytic converters they can use, so as to reduce the amount of pollutants which they emit out. Then we can use policy measures. Policy measures is educating children. That is what we are doing. That is what we are doing in environmental education. We are educating children to have a different type of lifestyle. We are encouraging people to use cycles, to go walking rather than using vehicles which emit so much of pollutants. Then we can also adopt a measure of controlling population. Yes, definitely, because if the population is uncontrollable, definitely the resources are going to be used, and that is going to lead to addition of more pollutants in the atmosphere and a poor lifestyle. And finally, we have to empower women, because women are the ones who educate their children and generations, and they can actually create an awareness among the people about what are the bad effects of global warming and how can we control them. Okay, children, so let's have a quick recap. I first taught you are going to go through all these topics. I'm going to tell you, first of all, you'll have a quick recap. That is, you're supposed to do the greenhouse effect. Then you're supposed to do the cause of global warming due to the greenhouse gases. Okay, then you are supposed to have a careful look at the different types of sources which are going to cause an increase in the amount of these greenhouse gases, okay, and how does it lead to global warming. Then what is the impact of the global warming on the lifestyle or the life. It's not only going to affect us as humans, but it is definitely going to have an impact on the plants as well as animals and even aquatic life. And finally, we are going to focus on the ways to minimize the impact of global warming. So children, please go through the topic carefully, and then in on the Friday's lecture, I will pick up doubts from this topic which I have taught, and I hope you go through it carefully. Okay children, thank you very much.